The First Nations traditional territory at the foot of Lake Huron changed hands 4 times since the beginning of the 17th century. This included what today is called Lambton County. This is the first of 4 stories that tell the circumstances behind the transfers of territorial control. Long ago, before the European settlers set their eyes on the lower Lake Huron and St. Clair River district, they were occupied by the Sauk Nation. Their lodges were pitched in the Saginaw watershed, where they used the St. Clair region as their hunting grounds. About the year 1620, the Petun, or Tobacco Nation, that lived around the Bruce Peninsula area of Ontario, wanted to expand their hunting grounds. So they asked their allies and trading partners, the Ottawa, if they would join them in a war on the Sauk. The Ottawa agreed and reported their intentions to the Chippewa and Potawatomi, because all 3 nations made up the Three Fires Confederacy. Now the Sauk was a powerful nation that had been belligerent and antagonistic toward their neighbors. They had continually made war on the Chippewa, who lived to their north, and the Potawatomi to their southeast. The Three Fires determined a war of expulsion. The Petun and Ottawa moved down the eastern shore of Lake Huron and attacked various Sauk parties in the St. Clair district. At the same time, the Chippewa and Potawatomi gathered at Mackinac. They made their way down the western shoreline of Lake Huron to Saginaw Bay, where they camped until nightfall. Under the cover of darkness, they stealthily made their way up both sides of the Saginaw River until they came upon a large ridge where the Sauk had one of their main villages. They attacked with such ferocity that most were massacred. Some survivors fled upriver to a village located near present-day Bay City. The invading warriors attacked it with the same ferocity, and it suffered the identical fate. Those who could escape fled to a small island about a quarter-mile up the river, where all the Sauk were killed except 12 women who were taken prisoner. There were 3 particularly large Sauk towns on the Saginaw tributaries. One was located on the bluffs of the Flint River, near the present-day town of Flushing. Another just a few miles up the Tittabawassee. The third was located on the Cass River, at the bend where Bridgeport now stands. The Sauk, who were killed at their town on the Tittabawassee, were buried in a mass grave on the banks of that river, creating a large burial mound. After each battle, some of the Sauk survivors escaped, always fleeing west. They gathered on the eastern shore of Lake Michigan, where they fled across the lake to Wisconsin, where they still reside today. This left a large expanse of territory in central Michigan empty. The victors returned to Mackinac Island with the 12 women captives. They were the only prisoners taken. A grand council was held to determine what to do with the 12 and to consider the appropriation of the territory gained. The elders decided to send the 12 women west to be put under the protection of the Sioux. This angered many of the young men because they wanted to put them to death by torture. The territory on both sides of Lake Huron and the St. Clair River district was given to the Petun, increasing their hunting grounds. This included Lambton County. In the next vignette, we'll look at the subsequent transfer of lands some 30 years later.